Hey everybody, and welcome back to Fresh Set. I'm Sabrina.
And I'm Kevin.
And we are a day late, but not a dollar short. Well, you're a
We
dollar
don't make any
short.
money. I am. I'm actually several dollars short.
Yeah.
We'll get into that after.
Yeah. But we are here after the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It was Easter yesterday, so we were with families and all that.
Well,
But we're here now.
We were with families, but I was stuck in front of the TV all day.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. But before we jump into what happened this week, just a reminder to don't forget to follow us on social media at Fresh Set Podcast. And again, wherever you find your podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, follow, like, share, subscribe on all those as well. And at Fresh Set Podcast.
At Fresh.
All right, jumping right into the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Before we get into free practice, which there's not much that we have, I forget all the time. Second fastest track, sorry.
Yes.
Of the calendar.
Long
and
too. Is it the longest? It's 50 laps, and I don't believe.
50 laps.
Do we have one that's under 50? We might. I don't remember.
Maybe.
But it is one of the longest tracks out there.
Yeah. But
and
fast.
Fun to watch.
Yes.
It's at night.
Yeah.
They're coming so fast that these camera angles change quick. It feels fast when you're watching it. Not
Yeah.
like some other tracks.
No. All of the races which have only been 5.
Yep.
Including this one, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, 5 including this one have all been won from pole, which is important. And there's been a safety car at every Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
Well, I think you mean all 5, not including this one. Before we got into this one, all of them have been won from pole.
Yes, yeah, I should say that. And yeah, so 100% safety car
at this track.
Record at this track. Yeah. So just setting it up for what's to come in the weekend.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about me losing money, but I struggled when I was making my bets this week about placing this because we've had a lot of tracks where there's 100% safety car and we had absolutely nothing, and I lost so many bets on all of those.
Yeah.
But we come back to Jeddah, which has probably one of the more infamous corners where you come out of a high-speed corner and most people tap or come within like an inch, a half an inch of this one wall. Where we saw actually Max about to set the pole record. Was it 2021 or the lap record? Where you see where Alonso's watching him.
Yeah, he's trying to do his race interview and he's just watching the screen. That could be 21 because they were still wearing masks.
20. Yeah, I believe it was 21 and it was his qualifying lap.
Yeah, and he was on track to beat records and take pole. And just clipped it. And so that's anybody, it can be anybody. But before we get to the race, obviously we'll talk about quali and free practice. Free practices, nothing really of note. There was a crash in FP2 by Yuki Tsunoda.
On that, not that wall. Yeah, on that wall.
Was it that same wall?
I think it was. Remember. I think he was actually making the turn, except he didn't come out of it too fast. He clipped the wall making that turn. So he clipped the wall on the inside of that turn, and then it just he
a little too early
came out, and then he just destroyed his car.
Yeah, which is a little worrisome because we've been wanting Yuki to show what he can in the Red Bull. Yeah, so FP2, but I mean, still, he's got lots of time to get the car ready. Got all night before FP3 and then quali, which they were able to get the car ready. Fastest times in free practice, again, it's people could be holding back, people could still be making adjustments. I think at one of the practices we had George as fastest.
I think FP1 was Gasly.
Or Gasly, like just weird grouping, which I mean, Alpine's been increasing, but
I heard something interesting. I can't remember where I heard. I believe it was somebody on Sky Sports, and I don't know who they were talking to, or who was talking to the Alpines, and they said it's too bad you didn't have a Mercedes or a Ferrari engine, because then you'd be the fastest on track, or one of the fastest on track. Apparently, the car is built so well, aerodynamically. I think they've gotten the weight restriction or the weight thing down, that if they just had a better engine, so basically if they weren't manufacturing their own engine, they'd be great. It'd be no problem.
Well, maybe that's what they're going to do next year. Well, who knows? Everything's changing next year, so they could have it all wrong next year. So it doesn't really matter. But yeah, so that was kind of the free practices. Nothing really of note other than the Red Bull crash by Tsunoda. When I looked at the crash, I couldn't at first figure out who crashed, and I was like, tell me Max crashed again in Saudi Arabia, but it wasn't. So then we go on to quali, Q1, Q2, kind of normal. The usual suspects are coming out. We have, what do we have? We have Kimi Antonelli in Q3 getting into Q3, which has been consistent for him. We have the Williams. One of them? Both of them?
We have one of them. We have Carlos Sainz. Alex Albon.
Carlos Sainz,
just missed out on Q3.
Right.
Not by much. I think it was like a tenth a couple hundredths of a second. It was Gasly actually makes it in to which is, I mean, this is not his first Q3 this year. This is probably his third. Yeah. Just consistently again making it to Q3. I mean, good on him. But Lawson having actually a better out qualifying Hadjar for the first time, outclassing any teammate. I think for the first time this year. So that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, just again, kind of showing the development of the cars, the drivers getting more comfortable in their cars. Because I mean, Hadjar will kind of spoiler. He goes on to have a really good race. Struggles a little bit at the end, but he has a good race. So, you know, you're seeing some of these rookies actually just keeping their head down and going for it. And they're not doing so bad. They're doing better than some of these veterans. So, they're fighting the veterans.
we have Stroll out, and who now takes the lead for most Q1 exits.
Which is 75.
75 Q1 exits, and he had some interesting comments.
I have it here. He was asked about it, you know, having this many Q1 exits, which is also very savage and shady of whoever asked him this. But or how does he feel? And his response was, well, if you put the McLaren drivers in a Sauber for 10 years, then they will have the most Q1 exits. Which
so quietly calling your car shit.
Yeah.
You will also have your teammate who consistently in the same car gets out of Q1.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure the McLaren drivers who are at the top would not be out in Q1 consistently as much as you are.
And like some of the Saubers are actually making it out of Q1.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
I mean, let's not. At that point, you've got nothing to say. You've got nothing's going to make you sound good or cool. There's not going to be an excuse. Just walk away from the interview. At that point, just be like, you know what? That's a dick question. See you later. And maybe they'll respect you for it. Yeah. But they're not going to respect you for something like that.
Well, and it's like you said, it's shade on your own car because you also aren't driving a Sauber. You're driving an Aston Martin. So, you should be out or you should be making it out of Q1.
Yeah. He didn't say if you were driving my car because he didn't want to get in trouble by Dad. So he put in the Sauber there and basically calling his car as bad as the Sauber. Yeah.
And I think he should take notes from Helmut Marko this year specifically. Every time you say something bad, it proves you even more wrong. So just don't say anything.
Just walk away.
Yeah,
just call the reporter a dick and say, you know what, no, and walk away.
I'm not allowed to make this comment. I'm not allowed to comment on this. But, so weird with him. But then Q3 is where we start to really see some stuff happening. And we are, a few minutes into Q3. Piastri is on... Oh, do you have something?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, and let's be honest, the reason we watch Q3, I mean, I watch every qualifying, but the reason we really watch Q3 in Jeddah is because you're flat out. Something's going to happen.
Oh, no, you're waiting.
Happening.
Yeah. You're waiting for somebody to hit the wall.
You're holding your breath every corner. You see them reach 320 kilometers an hour, dropping down 150, how they're taking some of the curbs because they're just understeering or oversteering, or they're just taking the corner too hot. And you hold your breath.
Yeah, I mean, how close they get. It's kind of a circuit like Monaco. Like, the corners are so tight. You're having to go so close to the wall. And I don't know how they do it and not hit the wall. I mean, we did see some people tap and still be okay. And, they just say, I hit the bat with my rear right or whatever. And they say, okay, tires look fine, car looks fine. But if you just get that extra bit of oomph against that wall, you're done. You're absolutely done.
It makes me feel like the people who design this track, the Saudis who design this track, are a little bit of masochists because it is it's a pseudo street track. It's not an official street track. There are parts that are just closed off. The structure that's there for the paddock is there permanently. I think that Crofty was saying there's a small portion of this track that people do drive on, but I think it might be just like for work to get into parking lots or whatever. So it's not a complete street track, but the whole track is closed in, barriered, like it's a street track. There is no room for any kind of mistake.
No,
that's just
there's only one little like runoff area, which proves to be a problem in the race. But it's kind of like, now that we're just talking about this, it's funny that like every track kind of has that one area that's like dangerous. Montreal has coming out of the chicane, like, so there's always like this one spot that you're looking for in the drama really of that race and where things are gonna go south or could go south for a driver. And again, like you said, when they're going 320, it's very highly dangerous and possible that there's going to be an accident, and it could happen to anybody. So Piastri is out on a flying lap. Lando is behind him on a flying lap, and Piastri is like foot to the ground flying. Like, just, I don't even know if he put on his brake at all. He's doing great times. And again, it's only a few minutes into the session. And right as Piastri's kind of making his last turn and run down the pit lane, we see Lando with a crash. We see a red flag, or there's a crash, yellow flag really quickly. And then the red flag goes up, and it's Lando that has crashed and caused the red flag. And then there's this moment of, did Piastri get to the line in time? And it's because he put in a great time. First of all, at that point, he's the only person to have put in a time. Yeah. So if it were to be canceled, he would be on pole. So that would be his race, which there was plenty of time to clean up. But so there's this little bit of controversy is because there's the timing line and the start line. And where the start line is, obviously that's ahead of pole position. The timing line is kind of at the back of the grid. So it was just a matter of, did he make it to the timing line, or were people looking at the start line? And he did. It was a quick investigation. He made it there, so he got to keep his time. It wasn't lap time deleted or that he didn't make it or anything like that. So, and then we kind of just wait for the red flag, which was pretty quick.
And another important thing is everybody's already out on an out lap. So they're already using fuel. They've already started to warm up their tires. They've lost a little bit of rubber. Which could be, are you going to go for another? You're going to have to go for another outlap, right? But is that going to put you in jeopardy for, you're going to be underfueled? Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Which we see kind of where Max kind of Max's strategy afterwards.
Yeah. So we kind of, everybody's doing their thing. Everything gets cleaned up pretty quickly. I think there's about just under 8 minutes left.
Something like that.
And Lando goes out. Lando is now out. He's not going to set a time. His car is not going to be repaired until the race. So you just see his name just kind of trickling down as people set times. But everybody kind of is going. Piastri goes, sets pole, or he gets a pole time.
Sets the lap record, actually.
Yeah, lap record or track record.
Track record, yeah.
And then George goes. He sets
the lap record.
A new lap track record. Piastri goes again. Beats Russell's now record.
Yeah, and I think at one point in between all of this, Max goes. He sets a time that's not. I think he's third or second at that point.
Yeah.
And you hear him talking to GP like they're gonna come in for a quick pit stop and go right back out. And so he has like just a quick I don't know what it was, 4.5 minutes.
I think it was like 4 minutes there. Yeah.
So like that where point. He goes out, he does his hot lap, comes right back in for a cool down, puts on a new set of tires, and then goes right back out.
Yeah. Which is not normal for quali. No. Usually you come in, give the car a second, go into the garage. Yeah. It's not like a normal pit lane.
You're having a conversation with your team.
Yeah.
We're not doing any kind of pit stop practice here.
Yeah. So for him to do that, and they went on this strategy, because I think at this point they were realizing every team was just going to be doing one. At this point, the 4 minutes left, they were just going to do
one left.
Yeah, maybe 2 out laps to warm up the tires, and then they were going to do 1 lap. Piastri did end up getting in 2, because that's when he got those 2 track records.
Yeah.
But there was more time at that point. So Max goes on to this weird strategy, which is like could be very dangerous because he's going to be flat out the whole time. And so again, we had Piastri set up track record, takes pole. Then Russell beats the track record, he takes pole. Piastri goes again, beats Russell's now new track record, takes pole again. Max is absolutely flying around this track, and we're waiting for him really at this point. And he takes pole with a track record.
By 1/1000th of a second. So like absolutely nothing. And that was funny because I was watching, and I don't know if you noticed this. I don't know if you pay attention to the colors that are in on the thing. Max puts up a purple sector 1 and then 2 yellows.
Yeah.
So how much faster was he in sector 1, where he can be able to still put up 2 yellows, not even green sectors, and still come out on top?
Yeah,
and not by much, but
no. And he's at this point now beating 3 day of track records. Yeah. Plus the track records from before. So it's like, which are probably his own track records.
He had this track record going to this.
Yeah. So and this is a car that struggled last weekend and has kind of struggled through free practice. So it's kind of like, where did they pull this from? And
they had a couple of upgrades this weekend, and they're showing their car a lot. A lot of the venting, the cooling section of it. I think they're coming out with a few some bigger upgrades by the time we get to Italy.
Miami. Oh, Italy. Okay.
Was it Miami or was it Italy? I thought it was Imola. I could be wrong. Maybe they changed it. I thought it was Imola, but I've been wrong several times today. So who knows? They're coming out with upgrades.
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah.
And then I think the only other thing for quali for me is that we have Kimi Antonelli and Carlos Sainz in the Williams ahead of Hamilton.
Yep.
Kimi, that's kind of where he's been this whole season so far, ahead of Hamilton. But I think really good for Carlos. This is kind of his first really good showing of what he's had in the car. And, we know that he may have not been in the right... on the old chassis, which I still think he is on the old chassis. I don't think
we haven't heard anything different.
But,
so
yeah. So a good showing for him. And again, poor Lewis is sitting behind. I shouldn't say poor Lewis, but he's sitting behind the guy that replaced him.
50 million.
Yeah. The guy that replaced him, the kid that replaced him, and the guy that he replaced and is now in a Williams. So it's just kind of like, and Lewis is just pissed off in his Ferrari.
I mean, when has he been happy in his Ferrari this year?
This is true. This is very true. All right. So then jumping into the race, I mean, it is a really good race start, and it's a better race start for Oscar Piastri. Honestly, he gets a better start from Max.
I think, and we were talking throughout this whole race, so I think the lights out caught Max a little bit because it was 5 lights on, 5 lights off. It was like a half a second between that 5th light came on, and we know that they're controlled manually somewhere between the 0 and 3.5 seconds or something like that of that last light.
Yeah.
This was definitely not even a second.
No.
And that light went off. And Oscar gets a great start. Max doesn't get a terrible one, but Oscar gets a jump.
Yeah, Oscar is fully aware of what's going on and paying attention. Yeah. And Oscar goes into the corner, and this is the controversy, but it is definitely 100% Oscar's corner. There's nowhere for Max to go.
I mean, I think so. You think so. Everybody else but Max, Christian, and GP don't think so.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, Max goes off track because, again, this is the one area that there is a bit of a runoff. And he stays ahead of Oscar, even though it was Oscar's corner.
So I don't know if you caught it. Oscar never says that it's his corner. He never says that he was ahead of the apex that I can remember. What he says is he was never going to make that corner.
Yeah.
Basically saying he was going so fast in there, he never would have safely been able to turn. He was always going to go off track.
Yeah.
Whether that was his plan or not. So he didn't push him off. He just wasn't going to be able to make that corner.
Yeah.
Which was smart, I think.
Yeah. I also think Oscar is very intentional with what he says.
Yeah.
Like, he never puts blame, and even when the team is asking him to make a call, he says his feeling. He says it very nonchalantly, but I think he's very intentional of like what comes out of his mouth, and giving his opinion on something. And if it's right, it's right. If it's not, it's not. But or if the stewards take a look at it, which, I mean, both of us immediately, Crofty, Brundle, were like, "Oof, Max should give this position back." Like. And I 100% agree. I think he should have given it back. They were kind of going back and forth to, was it Austin? Austin with Lando last year?
Maybe, yeah.
They kept reflecting and saying, oh, this is very similar to the Austin scenario. And when you look at the onboard, Oscar's ahead. There's nothing, there's nothing you can really say about it.
And Max breaks later. I mean, Oscar was completely right.
Yeah. So, but quite quickly on, Max never gives the position back.
Well, I think on that, I think we think he should have gotten the position back. And when we see where they finished, maybe it would have seemed like that. Now that I think about it a little bit more, I think maybe their fear is that if they give that position back, that Oscar's gone and they're not catching him. Like, he's going to build himself enough of a lead.
Yeah.
Especially on a track like this.
Yeah, I mean, I did understand when they were kind of talking about, the fresh air. They wanted to do what would happen if they gave Oscar the position, right? So they wanted to set Max ahead and hope that he's able to get ahead by, call it 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But he wasn't. He just wasn't able to get more than 1.8 seconds ahead, which is only because Oscar had to harvest his batteries. So it's not like he was escaping him. I think he did at one point a little bit more than that, but he really wasn't escaping him.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever more than 2.5 at the most.
Yeah. So, I mean, Red Bull can just be so hard-headed, and I know why they have to be. You can't just, roll over on certain things, but at what cost? And I mean, we do find out the cost in this race. Yeah. So, but again, on this first lap, we have Gasly and Tsunoda come together, and they're both out. Yeah. Tsunoda's car seemed to still be driving and pretty quick.
He did keep going, and then, but I know when you watch the replay, like I think he took a chunk out of his rear wing.
Yeah.
And so that was gonna just affect him the rest of the race.
Yeah.
I mean, he went another 2 laps, maybe.
I don't even think it was that much, but.
Oh, because he still pit under the safety car, or he went into under the safety car.
Yeah.
So, which safety car?
Yeah.
On that, there you go.
Yeah, there's a safety car, but I don't think anybody capitalized on it. Was lap 1.
No, there were two tire changes early on, which amounted to nothing. They were all people in the back of the grid, I believe.
Yeah.
So I think that was it. It might have been people that were just worried about running over debris and changing a tire.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Lando and Lewis had this great jockeying of positions back and forth, of brake checking by Lewis. Super dangerous.
Was it brake checking, or was it just lifting and then braking in the braking zone? I think he lifted a little bit earlier than he needed to. I never saw the lights come on. I think he just lifted a bit.
Maybe.
It got close.
It was pretty close. I mean, there was no penalty, so
no.
I guess he wasn't in the wrong, but Lando would overtake, and then Lewis would catch him on the next corner, and then Lando would catch him on DRS, and then Lewis would catch him on a corner. It was cool to watch and fun to watch.
Lando tried in the same. That's just experience over inexperience. Because Lando tried the same move 3 times.
Yeah.
And then Lewis just took it right back when he had DRS in the next one, and it was just it was nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, you could see he would, and I think the DRS zones are actually quite close at one point on the track. So he would like you said, Lando would take it on the wrong DRS zone. He would take it on the first one. And then the second one is the longer straight. So
this one specifically has 2 detection zones. So in the first, instead of having 1 detection zone for 2 sections of DRS, they each have their own. So he just got it right back. Otherwise, if there was only that first one, Lando would have had DRS for the first those two straights, and he would have been gone.
Yeah. So I mean, it was interesting, but it also wasted time for Lando, wasted tire, fighting somebody. Not so fun. We do see lap 19, Piastri's called into box. At first, it seemed like it was a little bit of a dummy because you could hear Ted Kravitz actually was in the pit lane and saying, nobody's moving. There's nobody at McLaren moving. And then, then we do see him actually come in.
Maybe it was a double dummy. They're trying to call a dummy, trying to get Red Bull not to bite, and then they come out last second.
Yeah, so I think it was a little bit of a dummy, but they still took it, and it was a little bit of a slow stop.
Problems with the back left.
Yeah, which I think it was 3.6.
It was an extra half a sec. It was 3.6. Was it that long? Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it wasn't that long.
Yeah.
Whatever. It was just, and that's considered slow. So
if you're over 2.5, you're slow.
Yeah.
2.3.
Yeah. So at this point, this leaves Max with some free air. Really, nobody's really pushing or hunting him at that point. So you could hear GP just clapping behind him, go Max, go push, push as much as you can, create space.
Piastri came in at what? He was, I think, 1.5 seconds behind Max at that point.
Yeah.
That he was just with a 3.5 second pit stop. He's about that 4 to 5 second mark. So Max has to push.
Yeah, they're wanting him to get as much out of the car and get as much distance. So when he does come in for his pit stop, which he ended up receiving a 5-second penalty for going off track and not giving the spot back from the first lap. So we know he's got to do that, which a lot of people think was not enough of a penalty. Some people think it should have been 10 seconds. Whatever.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. We can't change
that.
Yeah. I mean,
some people thought it should have been 0. I mean,
I think a penalty was worth it. I can't say 5 or 10, whatever. But so, I mean, they're just trying to get Max to get as much space as possible. Eventually, they're like, okay, we've got to bring him in. So Max Max comes in to the pits and he serves the penalty, which seems like a very long 5 seconds.
Yeah, you really don't realize how long 5 seconds is until... So I don't know exactly how they time it because they don't have an FIA guy there saying, okay, now you can go.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming as soon as he stops, they're counting down, and in their radios, somebody's telling him when to go.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was... I mean, I know
It
5
seemed
seconds
long.
when you're waiting there, and it's every second is crucial. It seemed longer. It seemed like maybe 6 or 7 seconds.
Yeah. And yeah, it didn't seem... Because the pit stop, once they actually touched the car, that seemed quick. But
it was 2.3,
the 5 seconds,
2.1.
Yeah, it was weird. But anyways.
Well, and so much so that Oscar gains a lot of ground.
Yeah. So when they pit him, they wanted him to kind of come out either right behind or right ahead of Oscar. Yeah. And Oscar passes.
Gone.
Yeah.
Oscar's gone.
And so the pit stop didn't work. The plan didn't work. He may have gained that time with pushing and, GP, pushing him on, but the pit stop didn't work at all.
No.
Lando, who was on mediums?
Yes, he
started on mediums, pits at lap 35 of 50, which is insane.
No, he started on the hards. He went longer,
hards?
And he finished on the mediums. Yes, everybody else started on mediums.
The opposite,
and went to hards. Most of them. I think there were 2 or 3 that started on the mediums.
And so he pits on lap 35, which, I mean, I don't think he even really needed to pit. Like, he seemed like he was great on those tires. I think it was just a matter of, per the rules, we have to. They're
gonna have to bring him in, yeah.
Yeah, and they were just kind of pushing him, and he comes into the pit and he's coming in fast, so much so that he breaks and locks up and kind of goes over a couple of lines.
And blows the white lines completely.
Yeah, it's just not following any sort of directions there. And he goes through to do his pit, which is a half decent pit. And then on his pit exit is where a little bit of drama happens for him.
Yeah, we're thinking it's gonna be he's gonna get pit entry penalty or incident or a review or whatever. And then it says pit exit.
Yeah.
Everybody was very confused.
Yeah. Because they thought, you could hear Crofty and Brundle saying, did he get down slow enough? Did he brake enough going in there?
Did he cross the white line beforehand?
Yeah. So, and then it's the pit exit. And for the pit exit, there's a line that they have to follow, so they can't just come out and cut right across the track and cut everybody off and make everybody's life very difficult. So they have to follow this white line basically. Yeah. And then they can come out. Yeah. And so, understanding the rules, you can be on the white line, just not over the white line.
They asked Bernie, and Bernie said you have to be completely over or on the side of the white line, on the inside of the white line. Which he's not. He drives on the last meter of that white line. I guess the whole tire has to be over. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no penalty.
No.
There's no penalty. So, we're picking and choosing penalties again. But, I mean, Max is totally deserved. Was this one deserved? I don't know.
I think on the entry, if you're going to give a bit anywhere, it's going to be on the entry, not in the exit.
Yeah. And then Lando he takes off, and his car was just working, and it's unfortunate that he started in P10 because I think he would have had. But then, it's like Murphy's Law. If he didn't start in P10, maybe his car wouldn't be as great as it was.
Well, and I think the strategy was better too, ending on the mediums, which seemed to be the better tire. A lot of people complained about the hards. Even George at the end of it was complaining that he wasn't going to make it to the end because there was some significant banding on the tires.
Yeah.
And Lando's one of the only people that is left on the mediums. I mean, I think at that point, a lot of people in the hards were waiting for hoping for another safety car. They had a quick pit and get onto like a soft or something.
Yeah. Then we had Charles Leclerc with a very fast Ferrari for a good chunk of after lap 35, kind of till the end, again, of 50 laps. I think he kind of slowed down about lap 45. So a good 10 laps of just absolutely flying. He's just passing people and gaining time, cutting time out of Max's lead, cutting time out of Russell's lead. Just absolutely flying, which I think is kind of the first time we've seen the Ferrari open up that way. Both Ferraris. We haven't seen Lewis's open at all, except for the sprint. But I mean,
I think there's something wrong with Lewis's foot and his connection to the gas pedal.
Yeah, but Charles had no issues with that this weekend. So good to see that. And then towards the end, we see Williams, who are sitting in 8th and 9th, Carlos in 8th, Albon in 9th, and Hadjar in 10th. And Hadjar is within getting close to being within DRS of Albon. And Williams makes this call, which nobody really understands at first, because he's like, Carlos is not taking off, where he seems to have pace to go ahead and, fly up the track, but he's not.
I think there was a call to try and let Albon pass at first.
Yeah.
And then they see how close Hadjar's getting. Yeah.
And they decide to switch strategy and do what Carlos did in Singapore in 2023 with Lando, who was not his teammate, and really just George, just really push or keep the person behind. So keep Albon within DRS of him. And then the two of them are really just dragging each other, or Carlos is really dragging Albon along. And then Albon's real focus at this point is just defending, keeping Hadjar at bay. And they do this for, 4 laps? 5 laps?
At least,
and they are able to do it. And at this point, they're just trying to make maximum points. And, I mean, they're finishing 8th and 9th, but it's still maximum points.
That's a team 10 points.
Yeah. So I mean, it's good for them, and 6. they're able to do it, and like to keep Hadjar off, who is also staying within DRS. So there's this.
Oh yeah, they were all in
DRS train, and it's like any wrong move could ruin a race for one of them, all 3 of them. It could be really bad.
I mean, it sucks for Hadjar, because now it's not like, I mean, they're teammates. So you're passing, you're not passing 1, you're passing 2, and there's no place you're passing 2 cars in Jeddah. It's not happening.
So just, safely take the 1 point. And, you're finishing ahead of your teammate. You're finishing ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, who was in 20th and out. So I mean, just take the 1 point for racing goals and have a good day. And I mean, then we get to the end of the race, and
we gotta mention, I did mention a little bit about Russell. Okay, Russell was the whole race in 3rd. Okay, It was just the same thing. If you thought if Russell wins this race from doing nothing. Well, he starts to have his problems with his hard tires for whatever reason. He had the banding on the front or the back, or the front, because he could see it. And there goes my money out the window, because he can no longer race. He was afraid of pushing anything, because he was afraid his tire was just going to explode. So just like you said, just trying to get some points. Yeah. This friggin' guy went from 3rd to 5th in like 6 laps. And completely, I lose $175 from this, from fucking Woody over here, from last lap George.
Oh God! I mean,
so frustrating. Frustrating.
I mean, he was doing well, but again.
Yeah, but does the weekend he doesn't get a podium have to be this weekend? Does it really? He does nothing and gets a podium 5 races in a row.
Yeah.
This one he's got to get. Absolutely
nothing
at fall.
Nothing.
I mean, he got points, but he didn't make me get anything.
He didn't get anything. You didn't get anything.
I got nothing.
So I mean, again, George just trucking along, but again, he gets into a scenario where he can't even fight Leclerc.
Funny how it's only him. Antonelli was fine. Everybody else was fine on the track.
Yeah.
Nobody else had this problem.
Yeah. It's stop betting on George.
Maybe it's his long legs that just rub it against the tires.
Yeah, honestly.
You need a shorter driver.
Honestly. Like Antonelli, he's just driving and he's fine.
Yeah.
So we get to the end of the race. Max is able to, he's sitting in second, and he's able to push and break or get down to about 2.8 seconds behind Oscar. Yeah.
And he starts just over almost 4.5 seconds.
Yeah.
With 10 laps to go.
Yeah. And they kept saying he was getting faster, but you never saw the 4 seconds decreasing until about lap 48. And then it was like, oh my God, he's within 2 seconds. Like, how fast can he get this car? And I mean, he wasn't able to catch him. And so he gets second place. Oscar gets his
However,
third. Yeah.
However, Max finishes 2.8. Now, I know their fear is if they let Oscar through at the beginning of the race that he would have just been gone. But had you not had that 5-second penalty, could you have possibly won this race? Or caught him eventually?
Yeah.
Maybe. The way the Red Bull was riding this weekend, they obviously didn't have confidence in their car.
No. That's kind of what it looks like, is that they didn't have confidence in the car. And... But I don't understand why. I don't like the car. He was able to turn it around. I mean, I guess it
was fast all weekend. He had the fastest lap of the weekend of history.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, take the gamble.
Yeah. I would have given it back. I mean, yes, okay, it was the first lap, so there was no DRS, but all you had to do really was, I mean, I don't know. I think the McLaren's fast, but I don't think Oscar would have taken off and gotten that far ahead.
So this is where they miss. So you have that yellow flag. It's likely it's going to be a safety car. It looked like a safety car from the beginning, but it took maybe about a minute before that safety car actually came out, or at least they caught the safety car. Give that place back right away.
Yeah.
Then you're on a safety car. You're bunched up. He's not taking off. You've got lots of time to figure this out.
Yeah.
It was a missed opportunity from a team that usually gets their strategy right.
Yeah, and I mean, even I had posted it, but you could really see how good Max is on a restart, and he's good whether he's in front or if he's the person second in a restart. He's really, really good. So, like you said, they could have done it on the restart and catch somebody that way, or there could have been a bunch of things that they could have done.
It's not like you're going to give it back and he's gone. You have opportunity. There's no way he's going to be able to get away from you. And it was the safety car was what, 3 laps?
Yeah, roughly
maybe 3.5, 4 laps.
3,
like
yeah.
But I mean, and before we got into this episode here, I mentioned it to you that I guess one of the reasons why they're not going, or they didn't give the place back, is because they're still thinking that they didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
So apparently Horner is still going to talk to the stewards and might exercise his right for review on the issue, because I mean, he's got pictures. He even talked about it after the race with reporters. He had pictures pulled out. They felt he had nothing wrong, and they might review it. And I don't know what that would mean. I don't know. My guess, and again, I'm guessing because I haven't gone through all the regulations. Do they take that time penalty back, and now he wins the race? And now they've got to fly that ugly trophy over to Max and switch them. And
yeah, because I mean, just because they take the time penalty, and I think this kind of goes back to what we were talking about last weekend with, was it George? No, who got a penalty that they revoked, that they took away? No, Hulkenberg.
Oh, yes.
Hulkenberg. It doesn't, you made a mistake as the FIA. I know that was just qualifying, whatever, and this is the race, but how do you prove that everything would have gone perfect for Max? So I can understand taking away the penalty, but do you automatically give him the win because of it? I don't know.
If the reasoning is that they have to give it, if they take away that 5 seconds, it would automatically go to Piastri. The FIA will not even review it. They won't. They're not going to be put in that position. They're just like, nope, we're good.
Yeah.
And you can appeal all you want. We're not taking it on.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the appeal, what comes from this with the arguing. I know Max was visibly upset after the race. I mean, it was there. You weren't there. And I mean, okay, if the data shows something else, I looked at Christian's pictures. I don't think they show anything because
the pictures is everything we saw in the replay.
Right, and they're showing the pictures that.
Now he's showing
that
pictures.
Don't help.
He didn't, and we've seen it before where he talks like, especially when he's got a problem with somebody else, he pulls out even the telemetry charts. Yeah. And says, he didn't pull out Max's telemetry charts.
Yeah.
So to see, he's ahead at the apex technically, but is he moving fast enough where he's not going to make that corner like Oscar said? So I know it's going to be interesting. I don't think anything's going to come of it, but
no, I don't think so either. No. Yeah. So I mean, we do see after Max is taking on, he pulls in. He's at the podium's just outside of their cars where it says first, second, and third. And Ben walks up to him, and Ben is president of the FIA, and is immediately wagging a finger in Max's face, kind of telling him something. Max's arms are going, pointing, whatever. It's kind of come out. I don't know if this is speculation or if somebody actually overheard this conversation, but Ben was basically telling Max, don't say anything. You are not to criticize. Please refrain. It was a warning of like, be careful what you say.
Yeah.
And kind of believable because in all post-race interviews, Max is like, I'm not talking about it. I'm over it. I don't agree with it, but I don't want to get in trouble. I'm not going to talk about it. Stop asking me. I'm done this conversation. Like he is just not happy. Cool down room, not talking to the other drivers. Very awkward when they see the replay of the race restart and they're both just sitting there watching it. Silence.
I mean, they both think they're right.
Yeah. I mean, Max says he's over it and it's done. There's nothing he can do about it. And I think that's very telling of how he's treated. I don't agree in this situation. I think he did the wrong thing. So yes, I don't think he should be told you can't talk about it. Be careful what you say. Mind your mouth.
Well, I think he was probably telling him, don't be critical of the stewards.
Yeah.
Basically, don't abuse the officials.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Inciting violence.
But he can have an opinion.
Yeah.
And now it just feels like he can't. So I mean, you're not gonna. We've seen it all year this year that they're not finding anybody else, but it looks like they're ready to hand Max every fine that they can.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like I said, this one I think is deserved. This penalty is deserved, but
it's deserved. But you can still have your opinion.
Yes, yeah, and I just think we do need, the stewards, FIA, whoever, needs to be consistent. We have to be giving penalties to everybody or nobody, and it does seem like there is this picking on Max.
And don't be afraid to catch some shit. It's part of the job. Don't be a bunch of fucking babies.
Yeah, like
come on, you're adults.
Yeah,
you want to make a decision. You live with the right reactions of everybody.
Stand 10 toes down on it. Like that's the decision. You know, and if people come to you, be like, here's the book. Read it yourself if you want. But yeah.
But with all that,
yeah,
we now have a new driver leader.
Yes.
Piastri is now 10 points ahead of Norris. And I saw this morning and I was like, these standings are just all effed up. I've sworn enough today. But Verstappen moves 2 points behind Lando now.
Yeah.
Russell, 73 points. Leclerc with 47. Antonelli with 38. More than Hamilton.
Yeah.
With 31. Albon in there with 20. Ocon in ninth with 14. Yeah. And your number 10, your 10th place driver good old Canada, Lance Stroll.
Oh yeah, I did see
10
that.
points.
Yeah,
10 and every comment on this post is about Lance Stroll.
Yeah,
nine great drivers and Stroll. Lance Stroll, my goat. Like
it's all about Stroll.
I don't know. I couldn't even tell you where he picked these up. There's only been 5 races, and I can't believe that he got more than 1 point in a race.
And this is the guy that can't get out of Q1.
Yeah, so, and he got picked up no points this weekend.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know he had the first 2 or 3 races where he was just quietly in like 6th and 7th and all that. But just a very odd looking bottom 3 here.
Yeah.
Or top 8 to 10. Sorry, but yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of fights.
It's gonna change a lot.
I can't wait to see how many times Verstappen and the 2 McLarens come together this year.
Yeah. And I think Miami is going to be one of the, coming up. There's some tight corners in Miami as well. I mean, there's lots of places to pass. The back straight in Miami is quite long. Yeah. But I think there's some tight corners where people come together. There's bollards in the way that Max likes to run over. I think, which is the next race. I think, and then when we get to the European races, it's going to be a gong show
with really racy tracks.
Yeah, going to be a gong show, and I think those 3 are going to switch around quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, Max Max is going to have some more race wins. Lando's going to have some more race wins. We know Oscar's going to have some more race wins.
I mean, Oscar's our only double race winner. Well, multiple race winner, and now he's won 3. So
yeah. So, Is that it? Is that all the news that we have?
I think so.
Cool.
So our fresh set.
Fresh set. Am I going first?
Sure. Go yours.
Yeah. So the fresh set. I think when the race first started, I was thinking it was going to be my dirty air. But I'm going to go with Charles Leclerc. Surprise, surprise. But not for, obvious reasons, him getting on pole. But I think this was just a race, or not on pole, on the podium. This is the first race that we've really seen him do something. We haven't, in races we hear his name, but he's not really doing much. He passes his teammate, he passes one person, usually Antonelli or Russell. But from the season has begun, he hasn't really done much. So this was nice to see him racing really hard, getting as much out of the Ferrari as possible, and actually getting a podium out of it when I don't think he even thought he was going to be getting a podium. So, and then, he just looked great on the podium, which I had to post.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see.
But that was Kevin that posted that. What do I mean?
It was not. My fresh set. It's easy. I've given it way too many times to Kimi and Williams this year already, and Piastri's the easy one. Oh, I kind of want to give it to Ollie. I think he had a great drive. I won't, but I think he had a great drive. Unfortunately, he was out of the points, but they did show him a lot this weekend.
Yeah, he's making moves.
I'm gonna give it to Jeddah. I really love this track. I love everything about it. It's full of excitement. Brings out some really high speed, and you're on the edge of your seat at every turn. So I'm just gonna give it to Jeddah in general, just because I love it.
Just in general.
Yeah, just because I love it.
Yeah.
Everybody is excited for it.
So. Yeah. Dirty air. I'm going with Red Bull. I think it's just the demise of Red Bull. They're just so hard-headed, and I know, like I said it before, there's times that you have to be like that. You just have to be the bull. But this weekend, it was at your own fault. You lost the race because of being so hard-headed. You easily could have won this. Yeah. I shouldn't say easily. I don't know that. The McLaren, Oscar's McLaren is just so fast. But they've got to get rid of that. And then I think they'll be fine.
Okay. That's a good one. I was before the end of the race. I was gonna give it to Lance Stroll because of the Q1 exit, because of the Q1 exit comments. But then I saw that he's got 10 points. I can't really. Do it, so my easy one is just gonna be George Russell. Like, come on, George. Come on.
Maybe you should just ask him for that millions.
Just give me a couple $100. That's it. Yeah. I had everything right. I had I had Piastri winning. I had a safety car. I had Max to lead a lap. All you had to do was finish in third. Just bring it home like you did every other race except this fucking one.
Last lap, George, in a different way. He didn't crash. But poor George.
Yeah, it's just a very personal dirty air for me.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for the first 5 races, which also seems insane.
At the end of a triple header.
Yeah. So there's a break. There's no race this week. And then the next one is Miami. So fun times. But we will be back next week with an episode about something. We'll figure it out. But
we're talking about. We already have it figured out. Don't make us look disorganized.
Yeah, we're always on it. But we will be back next week. But no race review next week, and then Miami, which is always fun. I mean, this is what, the 3rd race in Miami? 3rd year? 2nd? 4th? I don't know. Something like that.
At least 3. It's not 2nd. It's at least 3.
So it's been entertaining. There was a late safety car last year, which created Lando's first win. So I think anything's possible. Could be Kimi Antonelli's first win. We will maybe it's George's first win.
Maybe it's Lewis's first in a Ferrari.
Unlikely. I think Antonelli is more likely.
Antonelli's more likely than Lewis.
Yeah, okay. I think so. But anyways, well, we will see you guys next time.
Yep, grab a fresh set.
Bye.